Hi, this is Paul Fialsa with accomplir. Welcome to the second in the behavior management video series. This will be on leadership. Let me get into screen share mode here and we'll get going. If you haven't had a chance to see the first in the series, it should be up on LinkedIn. It's also up on YouTube. So let me get us going. In the event you didn't see the first one, or just a quick review on that, again, this will be a multi-part series, and the one today will focus on leadership and their role as consequence providers. So just a quick review from the first session. Again, the science behind behavior management. Behavioral science is, and in behavioral science, we define behavior as what I say or do. So that's one of the key aspects. The second part of it is the importance of pinpointing behavior. This is the most challenging aspect for folks to get their head around and be able to do. You'll actually see in a few minutes an exercise I created to help you do that. Anyway, from behavior, then we look at antecedents. Okay, so it's an antecedent world. Pretty easy for folks to understand this. What is it for that particular behavior that either prompts it, enables it, supports it? Again, training, job requests, procedures, all those are antecedents. Again, it's an antecedent world. Fundamentally, though, it is really about the influence and the power that consequences and feedback have on changing behavior and sustaining it. There are 4 different kinds of consequences. For accomplir's purpose, we focus on what we call the positive or R plus consequences because we're trying to encourage desired behavior. So again, 3 kind of takeaways. Behavior is what I say or do. If you happen to be talking about a team behavior, it's what we say or do. You have to be able to pinpoint behavior. The world talks about behavior in many different ways, and if you can't pinpoint the behavior, you will default to the world and you'll end up back with generalizations, cliches, various things like that. And you've pinpointed behavior when you've been able to define it and specific, observable, and most importantly, you can measure it. And the third kind of key aspect behind the science is it's really about the influence that positive consequences have in terms of reinforcing behavior. The more specific consequences and feedback can be, the more effective they'll be. It really is about what's important to the recipient of that feedback and consequence, and again, how timely can it be. So with that, let me get into the leadership aspects of this. I spent some time a little over a year ago. I really wanted to get, I was talking about the great discontent and people leaving and all that. I happen to be a real fan of Gallup. They have for many years picked up and have data on all kinds of aspects of the workplace, environment, employee engagement. Captured just a few of them here. Basically, and it's changed a few percentage points over the years, but basically you have about a third of the workforce that's actively engaged. You have about a third that are actively disengaged, and you have a third in the middle that are just kind of there. They're doing what they need to do. So anyway, the one of the points, the second one here, and I'll just read it. Only basically a quarter, basically 26% of employees strongly agree that the feedback they receive helps them do better at work. And the interesting thing is there's a similar data point about not even getting feedback at least once a week. And it really is unfortunate because without getting that feedback, again, how do you feel really connected to your work team and your work environment? The last point here, really was surprising when I saw it. The manager or team leader alone accounts for 70% of the variance in team engagement and performance. And that's from a Gallup January 2021 article. Anyway, that tells me that there is first a huge opportunity to improve employee engagement, productivity, and retention. And if I had to put my marbles where I wanted to improve that the most, I certainly would be focusing on how engaging and effective my team leader is, or leadership is in general. Anyway, setting that as the context, um, I created an exercise a couple years ago. The whole idea of being able to pinpoint behavior I found was just really challenging for people to do. So anyway, I created this exercise because we are all leaders in different dimensions. And what I wanted to do is couple together this idea of being able to pinpoint behavior, because it is so critical, and yet do it from a personal leadership perspective. So this exercise is, and I'll actually show you the form for it here. So there was an article that came out a few years ago. It actually was, from Decoding Leadership, What Really Matters, came out of a McKinsey quarterly article. And it talked about 4 types of behavior account for 89% of leadership effectiveness. And those 4 blue boxes, be supportive, etc., those are the types of behavior. And so the exercise that I developed is, well, let's begin with these cliches or generalizations as a starting point. And for an individual attendee or person, and I did this recently with a project manager, because I've been spending a lot of time with the PMI community. Anyway, so her priority was she wanted to be able to solve problems more effectively. That was her starting point. You see the X there. And then her pinpointed behavior was, I will develop and complete training for my QHS team in a structured problem solving methodology by August 10th. That, my friends, is a pinpointed behavior. So that's the nature of this exercise. And I would encourage any of you to contact me on LinkedIn. You'll see my information here at the end. And what I'll actually can do is I'll send you it's really a 2-part exercise. Part 1 of that exercise is the actual selecting of one of the blue cliches that you want to individually focus on, and then developing 1 or 2 pinpointed behaviors. The secret, or what makes it easier in developing pinpointed behaviors, is start the sentence with I. For you, it's a personal leadership behavior, or you start with we if you were wanting to talk about a team behavior. So this is the first part of the exercise. Second part of the exercise, we call this a leader coaching plan. Once you have that pinpointed behavior, then you would stick it here under critical behaviors, and then turn around, list the antecedents or the critical behavior inputs, how you'll get consequences and feedback about that from whoever the appropriate environment is that you're working in, how you're going to measure it. So this is the first part of it, is let me define and pinpoint the behavior. The second part of this exercise is, okay, so how do I activate and move forward with that behavior? So again, I encourage you to contact me. I can send out this whole deck. I can also send out just the 2 sheets that make up the exercise. So where we're going to be going in the next video series is what I call the integrated methodology. So if you may recall back to my earlier sessions, back in 2007, I developed what ultimately was branded as behavioral lean sigma. So it was really developing a whole tool set of and methodology where you could take the key aspects of behavior management and weave that into a set of tools and things like that. I want to give you just kind of a sneak peek at that because this is where the behavior management, beyond just your individual leadership performance, really gets interesting, because this is how you use this knowledge of behavior management on any kind of a change initiative. Again, hard to find one where what people say or do isn't important to performance. So anyway, just a quick preview on these tools. Probably the one that really gathers a lot of aha factor, the behaviorally annotated process. We do them in the current state, the future state. Um, it project teams love it. Absolutely no tissue rejection with project teams when they get involved in doing this. It's realistic. The ABC analysis, you'll be familiar with that from, this is how you analyze why people do what they do. We have a tool called the behavioral role responsibility matrix, where we take these future state key and critical behaviors, we weave them right into, into the process design. Again, you can measure pinpointed behaviors, so we've incorporated that into what we call the measures chain, so we can link those behavior measures to in-process measures. Of course, there's leader coaching plans, and then we have what's called a sustainability review. So anyway, that's a little insight into some of the key tools. So you can see my contact information here. If you would like a copy of the first or the second in the video series, feel free to contact me. If you just want to get the 2 pages on the pinpointing exercise, that would be great too. So thank you. Feel free to pass this along to your associates, and be more than happy to help in any way I can. So look forward to seeing you soon on the integrated methodology one. Thank you.